Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Stasia Bliss here. Welcome to Kundalini Embodiment, where I share with you practices, contemplations, and tools and techniques to manage this amazing life force energy that we are all blessed with, that during this particular time of our lives especially is activating to a higher degree than this world has maybe seen in a very long time, if not has never seen. So welcome. If this is your first time here, I welcome you to the channel. Please poke around at the different playlists where you can, again, find mudras, mantras, yoga postures, various readings for the cosmic cycles. I usually pop on here and do a special thing for solstices, equinoxes, often for full moons. This next week we have a strawberry full moon on the summer solstice coming up, so I'm excited to do something special for that, some kind of a ceremonial space. I had somebody comment on a video the other day asking, and I'm attuning to see if I'm getting this right. So if you're watching, and I did reply to you, but if you're watching, please let me know, to talk about, especially because I am living in the Americas, American mantras, and also the economic, political, cultural cycles that we are in. So my main studies have been in India, although that is not the exclusion of my studies. I have studied extensively with plant medicines, with Peruvian shamans, over a number of years, dozens of plant medicine ceremonies, and some interesting things occurred. Why don't I start with a little story about that? I've also studied, before I get into that, various different cultures around the world, including paganism and Wicca, including Judaism, though not as extensively. I admit there's still some learning. The Kabbalah still has some things to teach me. I've studied a bit in the Taoists, some of the ancient Chinese, a little bit of Aboriginal. I've studied some Egyptian things. That also is opening more and more to me. Of course, the Native American cultures here, the Mayan civilizations, especially the Toltec Nagual tradition. I've been initiated into a number of various traditions all over the world, including in the Tantric tradition. I received the Ning Ting initiation, Vajrapani, from South America, the Putsia ceremony, which is a very profound heart-opening ceremony using the agave cactus and the plant medicine ayahuasca to do extreme opening, body work opening of the entire energy body and heart chakra. There's a lot more. My life has kind of been one initiation after the other, and some have been rather intense. My deepest core resonance has been with the Indian yoga, and even though I've learned these other things, it always seems to piggyback off of and bounce off of what I feel like is the mother language. And there's a mother tongue before that, but on this planet, the Sanskrit really does seem to have everything spring from it. And the stories in Hinduism and Vedic lore, remember, the ones who wrote the Vedas were not themselves Hindus. They were deeply realized beings, the rishis, sitting in deep self-realization, deep meditation, inner reflection, and the sounds that they heard in the ringing of the cosmos compiled the poetic mantras and Veda structures. And if you read into the Vedas and so forth, it is a song. And the scripting has beautiful poetry, even in the writing. And I don't know as much of it as I would like to, but there is it's a symphony And it's really like singing the song of this life. And so various cultures have their own songs and their own sounds and mantras. When I have studied deep in plant medicine with South American shamans, I have also had the experience of weaving the Sanskrit mantras with like the akeros. Okay, so the akeros is a musical prayer also that the curandero, the medicine man or woman, especially in the Peruvian tradition with the plant medicine of ayahuasca, will sing these akeros through your medicine journey. And it acts like a thread, right? It holds you to this reality so that you can do all this soul searching and soul weaving and healing, and you can return to the point. So in the yogic tradition, yoga nidra practice has a similar, and they even speak of it as the silver thread, where the voice, the guided voice in the yoga nidra, is holding that string that you follow while your consciousness goes out and does this healing and so forth and comes back. Very different approaches, very similar results. Of course, ayahuasca does elicit some very deeply profound and sometimes almost frightening inner revelations where things look very different than what we are familiar with, which can be both beautiful and startling for the waking consciousness to grapple with. I had a very aligning experience. I have worked with clients who have not been able to fully come back together and were not guided properly in those journeys so as to come fully back to themselves. So with them, I have employed other techniques and understandings and self-talk and so forth to bring their consciousness back to the now. So that's the shamanic type of work that I've been asked to do, is hold a space in this reality for someone to return to themselves too. Much of the trauma that we experience in this reality is simply a fragmentation of ourself. It is separating ourself from ourself. The shaman or the medicine person or the rishi, the sage, the healer, holds the still point for you to go and retrieve and hold that safe spot back. So mantra is meant to be that tool that you can use yourself at times. Some things are so deep you do need someone standing there to witness for you. You want it. I know we like to do everything ourselves. I do, but there have been at points in my life, Spirit has intervened and given me a medicine person or a medicine woman or a guru or a teacher at the exact moment that I needed that me held by a bigger picture. And so I'm so grateful for those who've stood in that place for me, allowing me to find the anchoring that I have. And then I'm continuing to each day. It's a continual process. So as far as the social, economic, political cycles, let's relate that as I like to, and I've spoken about this in varied ways in other videos, maybe not in this direct of a way, that the earth, first of all, is also on an evolutionary journey, also on a consciousness awakening adventure, a kundalini awakening, a kundalini embodiment. And as I reflect sharing that word more publicly, I'm going to the energy conference in Salt Lake City, Utah, Mountain America Convention Center, the 28th and 29th of June. So if you're in the area, I'd love to see you there. But I'm contemplating sharing this word with the public. And if the public will jive and digest it, or if energy work is the still most easy thing to swallow, I'm trying to bump people into really understanding and embodying the difference, right? And so I've been contemplating this today, the energy that we have, right? We have life force energy, right? That keeps us alive. we're always bathed in it, we're in it, but there is a regulated amount that we have access to, because that's all our conscious container could hold to begin with as we're growing up. And some children are very aware and they hold it. And I'm not saying we weren't designed to, but culturally and societally, we have been purposefully or unconsciously put in sort of blinders to a specific patterning. And you know, this is part of the evolutionary journey as well. If you look back culturally at the overarching, we can see the rise and fall of civilizations, but we can also see consciousness going through its expanding bubbles. And sometimes an expansion is we expand into an area that turns out to be a bad idea, and consciousness learns and starts to course correct. And just like an individual has to often make many mistakes, side journeys and paths that are part of the branches of the tree of one's life, and fall and learn and come back to center. Reality, society, the collective of humanity also goes through these different stretching and growing and expanding and contracting and making mistakes in order to bump the consciousness of the collective into, you know, a unified field, accessing the life force energy at a greater potentiality, which then is a Kundalini awakening. Kundalini is also, you can say it's Shakti. It's the divine mother. It's the mother principle. It's the feminine principle in reality that has been more passive. It's been more passive. And that has been by design. Also, there has been an element of the masculine feminine, where the masculine has been very dynamic to build, right? To build the reality, to build the structures, to build streets, to build railroads, to build buildings. Some weird little bug. And we have needed these, even if we're like, oh, I don't like that kind of building, or the concrete drives me crazy, because it does. But so in the evolution of humanity, and I've gone to see the temples at Angkor Wat in Cambodia, magnificent structures, like so beautiful, which the forest is reclaiming, right? The trees are actually swallowing it back up, right? So humans, beings here, like we're creative beings, and you know, we're sort of like trying out creative powers. And we have been doing this in a very masculine way, a very structured, logical way. Well, we need a house, we need a thing from here to here. We need to get up in the air. We need and it's been crucial to build an underlying structure. But so for those things now to up level, to go into a more divine structure, which is what we're all doing. We're all up leveling from basic needs: take care of our body, wash our hair, brush our teeth, you know, go to the bathroom, wipe your butt. You know, you learn all the basic stuff. Feed yourself, you need this much, you know, you got to put gas in your car. All the menial, we call, things of life are important. They are the basic foundations, and someone who's not doing those, we kind of look down on. We're like, oh, get it together, guy, you know, or girl, or whatever. But so the awakening comes when the basic structures are being built upon, and they're being refined, and they're being morphed and transformed and shapeshift, because Shakti, the divine feminine principle, is no longer passive. In the higher frequencies, in the higher dimensions, masculine energy is a container. This is in Tantra, you understand the polarities seem to flip, because now consciousness, masculine, is a container for Shakti. So the body and the structures we've built in our life, they must be able to withstand Shakti, the life force, the divine mother, coming in and growing a garden in your life, basically. I mean, if you haven't created the right foundation, your garden will not grow. If you have rocks in there and poles and that tarpy stuff, and and there's not enough light, like it doesn't matter what kind of good soil you pour on there. If all that stuff's in the way and your foundation isn't good, it's not sound, no flowers are going to grow, no food's going to grow, no Shakti is going to grow. Life force is not going to blossom. There's life in the soil, but it's like inert. It's just like Kundalini before she awakens. It's laying dormant in all of us. And the initiations and the activations that we go through, which are also catalyzed by the economic situation, the political situation, the socio structure, like how everything is going in our reality, the way that we're interacting with each other, these are all catalysts for an individual awakening and for collective awakening, because it takes a multitude of awakening people to make a collective awakening, right? And for us to sink in, we have to also sink in with ourselves first. Otherwise, it's a chaotic thing. And that is part of the deal too. Like the chaotic thing is part of the deal. You can relate that in yourself to a dark night of the soul, to a second chakra journey, where all the karmic goo just oozes out, which we're seeing across the world right now, where the second chakra of the planet has been activated. It's been awakened. The karmic gook is flushing out. All the old patterning based on our ancestors, right? The second chakra is ancestral, inherited stuff, passed down, that the people living in the here and now may have nothing to do with, but it's in the DNA structure. It's been held there, and it's time released for expression. And it may be old, but that's how healing works. It resurfaces. It resurfaces in your life, in my life. When these things are coming up to heal, they resurface. They even look worse on their way out. And I have to tell myself that again and again as things come back in my life on their way out. So this is where the witness comes in handy, and why I love the yogic tradition, because there seems to be a name for every part of the body participating in spiritual awakening. And I guess that's why I kind of stick with it until I find another language that really speaks to the spiritual mechanics of the body. I'm going to continue to use the Sanskrit because Drashta, the witness, is opening Anya chakra, this third eye, the pineal gland, like its ability to watch reality and not get emotionally carried away, not get sucked in by the drama. It is the aspect of us that is a detached witness. It's not cold. It's the consciousness. It's the masculine shifting from the go, go, go to the I'm holding space for this because Shakti's coming in. Divine nature is coming in. Divine wisdom, Shekinah, Sophia, Divine Mama, Kuan Yin. All of this, Pachamama, whatever name you use. She's coming in. And she's bound to. Because she's the other half. She's the awakened half of God in you. And to access her, yes, we have to go into that receptive mode. We have to really sink into the part that has been reflected out in reality, whereas like the woman is silent. The woman stays behind the veil. You know, a lot of us get triggered by that because we still see it in reality and we're like, we want those women to be free. You know, and some of those women feel that way and some of them don't. Out of suppression or out of understanding the other side of the feminine, which is there is a quiet, receptive power before Shakti really comes and creates, right? She is the receiver. She's the void. That's one phase of Shakti. That's one phase of Kundalini where you're in the void, you're in the nothingness, you're the womb of creation. You pull your consciousness back into that creative soup and you are doing a cleansing of all that no longer serves. And that's a very internal, reflective. It's like moon card in tarot with High Priestess. The moon is not always negative. It's a reflective. It's a subconscious mind traversing, which is a lot of the initiations and practices I've done have been in the deep subconscious. And so when we do that inner work, we can also see the deep subconscious in the collective percolating up, bubbling up. And we know that what's bubbling up is not what's finally going to emerge. It's just a symptom of life force bursting through. Divine grace. Divine love, if you want to just really simplify it, is love bursting through. So if you have a difficult time with Sanskrit mantras, you can also just mantra love. Love, 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 love. Making yourself aware that it's love that's bursting through and pushing out all this stuff that we see that is difficult. And also in the economic, realm, if you will, it's trying to turn out a new reality, a new abundance module. And that's really what's happening, is the abundance module. Abundance in Sanskrit, that aspect of Ma is Lakshmi. I don't know what it is in other traditions, but I look at it as the abundance frequency, the true wealth frequency that is inherently all of ours. And so our reality is shifting toward that. And there's lots of names coming for that as well, a quantum financial system, or there's some spiritual terms that have been related to that. I know some have talked about Jasara or something like that. Any way you talk about it, if you look at the spiritual awakening principles behind reality, we are moving into an abundant frequency. And of course, it may take some time to get there because we have to move through the crud or the debris. And again, it was necessary in the past, but we're moving through the debris, the disconnects, the places where that's not working. And that has to be sieved out of the greater reality that we're expanding into. And that's the process that many of us healers were birthed here for at this time, to help humanity through this massive transition in consciousness. A transition where Shakti returns, the Divine Mother returns, grace returns, love returns, harmony returns. You can say heaven on earth. But there is a work to be done to get there. And that's an inner work. And it's also a recognition and a support of the outer work. So wherever you're living in the world, your place of residence is going through this on one level or another. And if you don't see it yet, you will. And so it's how we handle that, how we hold space for that. What is ours to do during that? And remember, we don't want to get hyper-focused on the issues that are bubbling up per se and get attached to them. We want to assist them in being released. That's like with our own healing work. If something comes up, we don't want to reattach ourselves to it like it's a new problem. That's where a lot of people get tripped up and stuck up sometimes. But it takes the witness. It takes the witness to detach enough to say, oh, this is the healing happening. Okay, I'm honoring that. I'm not going to get emotionally attached. I'm not going to let it take me down for a ride. Because then you do create a new pattern. And this is where reality can trip up too. If too many jump on the bandwagon of one of the things that's healing and clearing in humanity. And a lot of the political movements right now are kind of emotional movements. They're like movements where they're taking offense to things. This is not an attitude we want to get involved in. We don't want to be telling other people to be so careful about reality. We want to turn and take personal responsibility, and we also want to see that the old modules are releasing. So if it's something our ancestors participated in or someone else's, we can only work on ours, and we can't say to other people, you must work on yours, or I'm going to call you a bad person. We have to come back to the self. This is where self-responsibility is humongous, and we can support one another in that work if it is that person's choice to work on that. And everyone's going to get pushed into that choice eventually anyway, by their own consciousness. You know, that's the alignment that eventually happens to everyone. So to focus on the self, focus on the inner process, that's the support of the outer process. And then of course, where you see that you are drawn to serve in the world, where you're drawn to serve in the world. And I'm not downplaying anybody's role right now. I'm just saying, let's focus on the healing, you know? So I hope this touched on whatever was being brought to me. And if not, please leave it in the comments. Gosh, I have so much to say every time the 20-minute mark gets here sooner than I'm hoping. I was trying to keep these around 10 minutes, and sometimes they just get a little longer. So next week, join me as we begin to dive into embodiment of the tarot major arcana archetypes as far as embodiment practices in this life force embodiment journey we're on. I appreciate you for being here. I will also be doing some sort of a ceremony, small or large, I'm not sure yet, for the summer solstice. So if you're interested in that, then make sure you're subscribed. Get the notification bell. If you liked this video, please let me know. I'm also trying to make shorts out of all these daily videos, so maybe you've seen those popping up. I'd love to hear any feedback on those. Just trying to do better, serve better, and again, always just take what resonates. The rest, leave it behind. This is my offering. I hope that it serves in some way, and really, I just love you. And I'm grateful to be here on the planet with you. As challenging as it may be sometimes for all of us, there is some beautiful thing taking place here. And in each of us, we can feel it if we turn our attention to it. And the more that we do, the more things do fall into place, where we realize that we are at one with this thing called life. When we stop fighting it, we participate in a miraculous unfolding. Okay. Keep the faith, keep the love. I love you.